This week's episode of Reincarnated as a Sword left me howling. I was really taken back by the brutal, what really can be seen as a death blow to Fran. Yes, best sword master ends up healing her rather quickly, but they linger on that initial, okay, it's bad enough to see a character lose their arm, but the fact that both hands were sliced and then you start seeing her not even be able to react in the way that she wanted to, which would be screaming in pain. The initial shock and blood loss was clearly too much to even rationalize a normal pain reaction. But that really caught me by surprise, because you don't see those types of moments too often. And some people like to say, oh, because they immediately healed a character like this, therefore there's no impact. But in the moment, there was the impact. And as we quickly saw, had he not healed her in the exact moment that he did as quickly as he did, very much this demon beast that they're fighting, right, could have delivered a final blow. Whether head coming off, stab to the heart, within a matter of milliseconds, it feels like. A character like Fran doesn't guarantee that she can heal herself because her sword ends up basically helping or saving her. And I think that's what makes it interesting, because Fran's the type of character who's going to win a lot, but there's going to be interesting forms of defeat that you don't get to see too often, and that's what has me really excited about this isekai, right? She's someone who's very headstrong, is after that power, and wants to really prove herself, and that she can evolve, that she can become something strong. And as we see, she is learning as when they're rushing into the goblin cave there, right? Basically, Sword saying, hey, listen, we got to make sure we don't overexert ourselves. We want to make sure that you don't rush in and wind yourself and then you get trapped into a corner and get killed. This moment here is without a doubt a learning experience, but it's not like she didn't listen to advice and that's why it happened. It's more so the person they're fighting was just that talented and quick that a simple attack actually ended up hurting. How many times do we see characters with big swords or something that should cut off a limb but doesn't? The fact that it actually happened is pretty damn crazy. And it's going to be interesting because it almost feels like with how she reacted to that pain. Yes, afterwards, relatively relieved, because who the hell wouldn't go from excruciating pain to I can kind of feel my hands again and say, yeah, you know what, I'm feeling okay, all things considered. But I wouldn't be shocked if there's some PTSD that she might deal with over the course of her journey, not in the way that she won't be able to go on, but, scars definitely start stacking upon each other, and eventually any warrior is gonna feel like, oh, I've been stabbed too much, I've hurt too much. Even if you heal it, the pain and the remembering of what that pain is can definitely linger, and she is a kid, all things considered. They didn't need to go as hard as they did, and I think the fact that 15 minutes of this episode was mostly her kicking ass, taking names, storing goblins in the inventory trunk, so obviously the people behind her wouldn't realize that she's been collecting crystals, and they would then, in return, actually see just a couple of goblins left, or for them to hunt, sort of a thing, and to just see the overall father-daughter duo, right? Because all things considered, she really feels like she's looking at this sword as her mentor, her father figure, and he feels like he's protecting her with everything that he can, right? And the fact that she's listening, she's observing, there's cute moments, right, where he's like, okay, here we go, this is the nest, and I'm gonna launch an attack, and then you'll launch the next one, and his first attack wipes it out, and she's just disappointed that she didn't get to do anything, and he stole her thunder, right? And then to see the actual dungeon master, and you're like, oh, it's this big boy, and it's like, oh shit, the big boy's just working for this small creature, and then he in return just takes him out, and it's just the escalation of the episode. It was funny, it was action-packed, but then it catches you by surprise, and the fact that I'm not surprised in the way that it could happen, I'm just surprised at the when it happened, because it's not like it just immediately kicked off like that, or it immediately ended and it blew balls just with a cliffhanger. Instead, she was clearly struggling in a way that you expect anyone would if someone is talented and is powerful, but the fact that they actually committed to that quick, holy shit, am I seeing what I'm actually seeing, to her freaking out, me saying there's no way she keeps her arms off like that, like they gotta heal her, but how? And then to see everything, it's just, Reincarnated as a Sword has done a hell of a lot in 5 episodes, from being hilarious to being a great slice of life in a fantasy world, to having, honestly, just one of the better father-daughter duos I've seen in anime. Honestly, at this point, I'd probably even say period. Like, really, I haven't watched many that has made me say, damn, this actually feels like a loving, nurturing relationship that isn't going to go anywhere, sexual or perverted or more than just a family bond sort of a thing, or master-student relationship. And really, this episode was clearly the most shocking for me. I'm not overreacting there. Like, that literally was, I rewound and it still hit me like a goddamn isekai truck. But it's just the fact that it really feels like no matter how powerful a character, whether Sword, Beast Girl is, no matter what, there's always going to be something that can catch the most powerful person off guard. Even if this creature isn't actually more powerful than Fran and Sensei here combined together, a sword can cut off a goddamn limb. And if you make the wrong move, even the most weak of characters could stab you in the back. And I think the fact that they're committing to that and making us see it so early is what makes it interesting. Yes, Fran's not going to die here, and Fran will make it to more episodes, but the fact that Fran can be hurt to this degree, and I mean, it doesn't matter whether or not you make it to the finish line, scars stacks, wounds stack, and even if physically she looks fine, that's a mental burden and then some, especially for a kid, all things considered. Reincarnated as a Sword is not playing around, and I really like this one, and I honestly think it's one of the stronger isekais that I've seen this year. And I honestly think the fact that we've only been focusing on goblins really up to this point, yes, the first episode there was a wide variety of creatures that our Sword was killing, and dragons and everything like that, but since Fran's joined the fray, it's been humans and goblins. Those are the two types of people that we might fight or we would see fighting, right? And it helps that the goblins are actually an interesting design. It's not like they're the generic, okay, looks like a goblin with a basic green coating. Like, there's actually like moles and like just disgusting details on them. And the fact that they actually all feel like they fight differently. And even if the king and queen got obliterated very easily, I love the fact that it really felt like an interesting, like honestly, in a lot of ways, it feels like you're playing like a Diablo, right? You're just literally massacring these hordes of creatures that are fun to look at, but of course, you being you can just casually slice and dice them. And then when the real boss comes in, obviously we see how it escalates. And I think they're having a very fun time with the visual department of this show, and I never expected to enjoy the background character designs as much as I currently am. Because usually a show like this, talking sword, cute beast girl, like that's going to be the highlight of character designs. But truthfully, the goblin character designs and the hordes are actually, I think, the most visually interesting element outside of the special effects and animation, right? But great episode, very excited, if not a little worried to see where we're going from here if you've already shown us she can lose her arms even if you did heal them back. Thoughts, feelings, ideas on where it might go from here, do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. You can also consider supporting the Patreon if you want to have access to exclusive content ranging from video credits, video shoutouts, and even live reactions to select series. So consider supporting that if you so wish. But until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.